Good morning, family. How is everyone doing? Long time no talk, long time no see. I'm happy to be here this morning. I'm happy to be able to share this message with you. I apologize that it's been such a long time, but nevertheless, I'm here, and God has an awesome word for us this morning. So let's just get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about what is in you. What is in us. There's a few places that I drew from. I'm like I told you guys, I'm kind of in my own space right now. I'm in my own process right now, and during this process, the Lord has been exposing a lot of things in me that I did not know were there, and He tends to do that. The closer you get unto Him, He tends to repel that stuff that is in you. So when He's repelling it, it has to come to the surface at some point so that it can be moved, right? So there's stuff that's so deep in us we don't even know it's there, right? One of the devotionals that I read a couple months ago was asked that question. He said, what is in you? When life squeezes you, what comes out? When somebody squeezes you, what comes out? When you're angry, what comes out? And a lot of us can attest to this. It's not pretty. When you're put under pressure and you're feeling like you're under the microscope, or you're feeling like somebody has offended you or disrespected you, or the system is not working for you, or somebody has done something to wrong you, that in which comes out in those moments is who we actually are. And a lot of people use the term out of character, or they say stuff like that person provoked me, or that person made me. The truth is, you can absolutely provoke somebody to anger, but it doesn't remove the fact that something is in there. There's something in there that shouldn't be there, right? So we're going to talk about that today. The devotional asked a good question. He said, if you squeeze an orange, what comes out of the orange juice? If somebody offends you, if you're being squeezed by somebody, what comes out of you? If it's hatred, if it's anger, if it's bitterness, if it's fear, that's what's inside of you. It doesn't matter how nice you present yourself. That's what's inside of you. I have a few scriptures here. And it also doesn't matter who's squeezing you, because some people try to justify it. Okay. Sorry. Some people try to justify it by saying that, I don't like that person. That person's rude. That person's this, that person's that. Or it might be the opposite. It might be like, because I love you, you get me more mad than anybody. But the bottom line is, it does not matter who's doing the squeezing. Whatever happens when they squeeze is what gets exposed. That's who you are, right? So, and you can choose to live with it. You can choose to accept it. You can choose to justify it. You can choose to blame people. I said something to somebody one time, and the immediate response was just cursing and swearing. And I'm like, oh, oh, and it's not the same thing as I've done the same thing, and no longer is my response to curse and swear. No longer is my response to react out of aggression like that, right? But I still have my moments where I do react, and God is still showing me that there's still stuff in me that's not pretty, right? So in Luke chapter 6, verse 45, it says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And what that's basically saying to you is, whatever is in your heart, that's what comes out. It comes out. Sometimes it comes out as jokes. Sometimes it comes out as regular conversation. Other times it comes out only when you're under pressure, only when you're stressed out, only when you're mad at somebody, only when you're hurt by somebody. But either way, it's still there. It comes out, and you can't hide what's in your heart for long. It has to come out. It has to come out. Jeremiah 17, verse 9. I'm actually going to go to this one because this one is a little bit deeper. Jeremiah 17, verse 9 says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? And it's saying it means exactly what it says. It says the heart is desperately wicked. There's people out there that think, I'm a good person. Me, Alicia, I've I've always thought in my life, I'm a good person. I treat people good. I'm loving, I'm kind, I'm gentle. I could name the list of things that I thought I was before I went through this process. And you know, God revealed to me I wasn't at all any of those things. Not really. I put on for those things. You know, I knew how to behave in that mannerism. We know how to behave kindly. We know how to behave lovingly, but are we really loving? Are we really kind? Are we really gentle? Do we really have long suffering? Do we really have selflessness? Do we really think about others before ourselves? Or do we want people to know that we put them before us so that, you know, to make it look good? It's like, oh, you know, I thought about you. Or, you know, I put you, and the thing is, a lot of us do stuff for people to remind them, hey, I've done that for you. That's not genuine. That's not sincere, right? So he said, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. There's no good in us unless God puts it there. There is no good in us, I repeat, unless God puts it there. The following verse says, I, the Lord, search the heart. I test the mind. My God, I love it. I, the Lord, search the heart. I'm going to use a different version. And examine the mind to reward each person according to their conduct, according to what their deeds deserve. So God is saying, I know who you are. I don't care what anybody else thinks about you. I don't care what you put on for everybody else. It doesn't matter. Those thoughts that you have that nobody else knows about, God is searching those thoughts that you're having, those thoughts of murder, those thoughts of lust, those thoughts of anger, those thoughts of like, those things that somebody would lock you away for. God sees that stuff. And it's not to condemn you, because we all have thoughts. Thoughts come to all of us. But God is saying, I search those things and I know those things. I know the condition of your heart. I know everything that goes on inside of you, stuff that you don't even realize is happening in you, right? And he goes, and I reward you according to the kind of person that you are. And what's beautiful is that God still exercises mercy. So even though we may not be the best people, God is still merciful. God is still merciful. You know, like I shared a scripture with a friend this morning, and I said, you know, like, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us, which means he didn't expect us to be good before him. He didn't expect us to be good in spite of him. He expected us to allow him to come and make us good, make us whole, fix the stuff that's broken in us, take out the stuff that's ugly, take out the stuff from the world. We don't want none of that stuff in us. When you really get to know God, when you really begin to press into God, and you start to see the stuff that comes out of you, you're going to be ashamed. You're going to be hurt. It's honestly, it destroys you. It's like, that's me all along. You know, when God started to show me, Alicia, this is who you are, I said, what? If it wasn't God himself, only God himself could show me. You know, my friend was trying to show me, Alicia, this is not okay. You know, you can't do this. I'm saying, that's just you. That's just you. You're just sensitive. That's just you. But God said, no, Alicia, that's not me. That is the wickedness in you, and it's not me. Amen. He said, what is in you? Someone that says the heart is the seat of sin. Matthew 15:18 says it's not what goes into the man that defiles the man. They were talking about, you know, food and diet, and people don't eat pork, and people, oh, you can't eat this because it's dirty, and like, it's not what goes into the man that defiles the man. The Bible says it's what comes out of your mouth. It's what comes out of the man that defiles him. It's the stuff that you say to people. It's the stuff that you put out into the atmosphere that causes God to be like, man, or causes man even to be like, man, that's you? That's who you are? And yeah, that's you. That's who you are. You know, there's Christianity is there's such a misconception that when you get saved, all these things just go. All of these things are just passed away, and it's not true. You have to go through your process. You have to go through the process with God so that he can take all of this stuff out of you. There is nobody out here that is perfect. There is nobody out here that is prepared, that is born ready, that is grown ready. Like, you have to really hold on. You have to hold on to the garment. You have to hold on to it, because this world is not designed for us to be holy. This world is not designed for us to be righteous. It's not designed for us to be loving and kind. The world is designed to destroy you. It takes you with lust. It takes you with money. It takes you with all these other things, all these emotions that cause people to do all this crazy stuff, manipulation, murder, all this like ridiculous stuff. And God is saying he's the only answer to any of this. And the beauty about it is you don't have to be fixed. You don't have to say, oh, I'm going to give God a chance as soon as I finish this. I'm going to, when I get better, I'm going to call on God. When I do this, you can't get better. You can't take yourself out of sin. When you were yet a sinner, Christ died for you. That means when I was caught up in my most filthiest places, up to my throat in sin, Christ came and he pulled me out. He didn't care that I was dirty. He didn't care that I was salty. He came and he pulled me out. And the moment he pulls you out, he begins to work on you. He wants to rip all of this stuff out from inside of you. But the thing is, what me and my friend we were studying in this last few days is confession, right? If you don't confess, if you will not acknowledge that this is wrong, something is wrong in me, then God can't do nothing for you. Confession. Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right? I'm going to take us to Genesis 6 verse 5 for a minute. I usually have them marked, I'm sorry. Genesis 6 verse 5 says, Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. This is for people who are feeling like, nah, I don't think bad thoughts all the time. Nah, man, I don't even, no, it's true. We really do. It does not matter how much love you feel like is in you. For those that are not saved, there is no good in you. Whatever is in you that shows the fruit of the Spirit of God is because God already has a calling for you. And all you have to do is respond so that he can take you and start to mend you and start to repair you. He breaks you down and he opens you up. And he pulls out all the junk that has been compiled since the beginning of your life. All of the stuff, all the seeds that the enemy has planted, all the stuff that you have allowed to be deposited in your life. Fornication, people don't understand. Fornication is bigger than it's not just like I get saved and I'm not allowed to have sex anymore. No, you see something different. When you come into Christ, you see it differently. I didn't get an immediate condemnation for fornicating when I got saved. I still fornicated. I still did stuff I wasn't supposed to do. But what started to happen was I started to feel different about it. It literally, it started to change in me, and I started to see things like, oh, that's nasty, because you don't realize whatever that person is suffering with. You don't understand how many demons we carry around us and in us all the time. Every time you experience something, you pick up a new demon. Every time you go through a heartache, a door is open and something comes in. Every time somebody abandons you, every time somebody rejects you, every time somebody makes you angry and you give into that anger, you assault somebody, you yell at somebody, you curse at somebody, you're opening another door for another and he don't just come in by himself. He comes in with his homeboys. He comes in with 10, 12 other demons. So you got stuff going on in you that you have no idea about. Here come you and another person who are not saved, not sanctified, not under the unity of God, and you're coming together in your flesh and you're sharing each other's, never mind STDs. Who care about STDs? STDs can be cured. These things are real. These things come and they attack your life. You ever notice that you spend a lot of time with somebody and you start acting like them? Or you sleep with somebody, you get really attached to them. You're like, I don't know what it is. It's a soul tie, because you have taken on what is in them and they have taken on what is in you. And that is some crazy stuff. That alone was enough to make me say, no, nobody's not touching me again until I'm married. And when I'm married, my husband is going to be of God. My husband is going to be sanctified. My husband is going to be holy, because I don't want nothing in me that don't belong there. Man, you don't even know. This battle it's not a joke. It is not a joke. The things that God is exposing in me even now, I don't even know where half of these things came in, but when he's showing them to me, I'm saying I'm hurting and I'm ashamed, and I'm saying, God, like, I really thought I was good, and people know me. People that know me, they're like, oh, Alicia's good, and I am, and I love people, but when I'm under pressure, when I'm being squeezed, what comes out is not pretty. And that's the realization that I came to. You know, we all need Jesus. We all need to be saved. Those of us that are saved. Those of us that are saved.